Okay. Okay. So, yeah, validation error, there it is. This validation error is not telling me which pipeline layout it is. It just said shader, which shader, uses the descriptor slot 01, that means set 1, binding 1. And it expects a combined image sampler for that thing. So this is the texture, see description. But not declared in pipeline layout. So apparently this pipeline, which pipeline, has a layout bound for set 0 that does not have binding 1. Well, that is the case for pipeline number 2. But pipeline number 2 should not be using 01. That is using 00. Wait, it is using 01. I mean, this is true for pipeline 2. Pipeline 2 does not have 01. It has 11. But that's exactly why this cannot be pipeline number 2. But it doesn't say which pipeline layout it is, so let's try to figure that out by going up in the stack trace here. Wait, then I must run in the debugger, obviously. Well, that's interesting. Now it complains about descriptor 11, but I think there's a race condition. As you can read in the description, I have 2 pipelines and they are both being built in parallel at the same time by different threads. Maybe it's even a threading problem, but I don't think so. Not sure. But I guess that sometimes I will get, sometimes one finishes first and then it will say 01 and the other time the other one is first. So there is a race condition on top of this. I am going to run it again and see if I can reproduce the 01 again. Again 1-1. Again 1-1. And 0-1. Okay. Let's try it one more time. Again 0-1. Okay, I'm going to do it the 0-1. Don't ask me why. Up. So the question is then with this error 0-1, which pipeline layout is it talking about? This is being called from core dump, finish, fatal finish, trap point in debug messenger. It's called from the validation layers, which detects that validation error. Log message locked, log error, validate pipeline shader stage, validate graphics pipeline shader stage, validate pipeline, Pre-call validate create graphics pipelines. So getting a hunch that this would be during creation of a pipeline. Create graphics pipelines. Create graphics pipeline unique. And this is my code finally. Create graphics pipeline. Okay, well, this I think is in a function. Oh, that looks like a small function. Graphics pipeline create info is this. It is trying to create a pipeline. I cannot concentrate when I have music or something in it that even remotely resembles vocals. Let's put music a little bit softer as well. Okay. So, there must be a problem with this whole thing. Because that's what I'm passing in order to create a graphics pipeline, and then I get my validation error. Now the validation error mentioned specifically P stages. So this is calling, well, I can even follow the URL. I'm going to follow this URL, but it doesn't work, so instead I'm going to search for that. In the specs. That is mentioned. Valid usage of the VK graphics pipeline layout create info that I'm now looking at. And then it's talking about the P stages. Now I want to do a Control F of P stages. Stage count is the number of entries, so we have 2 of those. P stages is a pointer to an array of stage count VK pipeline shader stage create info structures, describing the set of the shader stages to be included in the graphics pipeline. Let's see what that exactly is. Like stage module name. So that's just the shaders, the shader code, the compiled shader code probably. P stages, okay. Well, I have to find out which, if it is using the right shader. Let's see if we can find that out by printing P stages is an element of this thing. Well, this is all nice and dandy, but then which shaders are that? The only thing I have here is now a handle. The handle of those things. Although that has nothing to do with how my voice is sounding, of course. Let's concentrate on C++ here. So a problem here is that now I do have values of the shader module, but I still don't know which one it is, of course, because yeah, I just have a handle, like I said. So I would have to scroll back through the log files to see if I see this value somewhere, and then maybe I know more. It's printing it out here. That's nice. Okay, so we have create graphics pipeline, and then we have two stages with P stages being Vertex. The Vertex shader is this handle, and the fragment shader is this handle, and then we have lots of empty stuff. Empty. Where am I? Empty. Lots of nothing. I just highlighted here because my cursor has to move back, and then I am afraid I lose which line I'm in. So now I move back, and then I see this is the correct line, and then we continue. And I see here 0, 1, alpha, blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's a better way even. Nothing. Well, not nothing maybe, but at least not interesting. Lots of nothing still. Okay, now I'm confused. I think the only thing that really matters is the layout. And that's this one. The rest is not interesting, right? Okay, so the only thing we have is a module handle and a layout handle. That's not helping. I have to look up what each of these things are then. Actually, I have two handles. And I doubt that it's still in the scroll back, although I'm going to try, and if that fails then I'll just have to write it to a file. So run it again, write the log to a file, and then look it up in there while not any longer being in the debugger. Which is not a problem because it's actually printing all that information. I don't need to do the debugger. Might as well do that immediately then maybe. Let's not scroll up. Let's just run it again. So leave the debugger and then run it without debugger. Well, ubt and write it to a that froze my desktop for a bit, but then it timed out. Great. So now we go to the file and 1G at the top, and I look for the first validation error. And then we set a wrap. So we can see the full line. Here's my create graphics pipeline, and I'm going to highlight it using regular expressions, highlight all images, search backwards. Okay, so the first handle then is that, or second handle, or the layout handle. What the hell? Click on it and it erases everything. It's the second time that happened. If it happens again, then I'll have to think of something else. Okay, you got it. And now I'm going to look or search upwards for any of these things. I'm just going to scroll. So if I scroll, you can't read it, but if you don't have epilepsy, then yes, that's okay. I can't read it either, actually, but it's just waiting for a highlighted thing. Not a layout. Ah, well, that explains it. This is the other pipeline, and it's using the same layout. Yeah, that's not going to work. So we did not get a validation error here during this call, which means that this layout matches. And it uses other shaders, but it uses the same layout. That's not good. That must be the bug. The FBI is here, federal something. Hi. I wrote everything in the description. Type it in, see the description. To fit. Yeah, stupid YouTube is complaining about having a poor quality again. I don't believe it. Right, so, okay, thank you. I think the bug must be that the second pipeline is created with the same layout. It's, in other words, the wrong layout, because I also have two layouts. Now there is a race condition, and I'm interested in knowing if it is always a second call to create graphics pipeline. It's maybe stupid to do that, but so let's run it again, and then have a look at the validation error, and this one is 1-1. And then I have a call to create graphics pipeline here. And this layout, which I shall highlight. And then I go up. And there is another one with the same layout. So that was the second one indeed. And now I want to know if that also happens when it is a validation error with 0-1. Might have to run it a few times before I get that one, because that's a race condition. Seems pretty likely to me. 1G / validation error. Set rep. Let's highlight. Oh, it is still highlighted. That's the same number. Let's search for this again. Should also still be in there. 1, 2. More importantly, though, yeah, this is 0-1. So it looks like the first pipeline uses a layout that's correct, and then the second pipeline that is being created uses the same layout, which is incorrect, even though one or the other finishes in a different order, which I can see here. It's kind of confusing. I'm smelling fire. I don't know who the fuck is. Not fire, but smoke. I have my window open for fresh air, and then someone is... I'll be back in 1 minute. Hold on. Oh shit. I don't know, someone must be barbecuing with a lot of smelly gas stuff, gasoline or something. Ugh. Okay, can I do something with this? Can I do something with it? The layout, the same layout while calling create pipeline. I guess I'm going to look in the source code. Grab project sources for create, and I think there's this one. I should have two pipeline factories. Pipeline factory is a task which calls this function here, which is reentrant. I'll go to the top. This is a reentrant function. It's just being called over and over with different states, where it more or less goes from the top to the bottom. So it executes this, and then it breaks, so we exit the function, and then when the next time it enters, it will execute this, and so on. How many lines of code I have? Yes. Not sure how to make sure that I only count my own code. I use a lot of code that I wrote over the last 20 years. Let's say if we go to the root, then these things here, like this directory and this directory, this directory, this directory, they all contain a lot of code that I'm also using. But let's only count the Vulkan engine stuff. And then you kind of have just print project sources. I think PRS. Yep. So this is the test executables and source Vulkan. So that's pretty minimal. That's really only the stuff that has to do with Vulkan. So I can do get all the files and then count the lines, I guess. So just the Vulkan code is now over 35k lines. And if I count everything, then I don't know, a lot. It's almost a million, but I think I'm probably counting some third-party libraries there as well. Okay, so back to the task. So this task is doing the following. It executes this. So what does it do? It creates a new task that's going to create a cache, pipeline cache. When that is done, we create yet another task. It's called move new pipelines, which is being run. And then we wait till we are fully initialized. Once that happens, we run over all the characteristics that this factory is being created with. And on each characteristic we call initialize. And I think I'm not even using a range, so I only have one characteristic, no ranges, so it's super simple. It's just calling this initialize. And then after the initialize, I cannot even remember what update does anymore. That's probably nothing, I don't know. Well, it is doing something because we are here. Okay, so initialize is being called, and then it loops over. Yeah, this simulates multiple nested for loops that run over all the ranges that I have. But if you ask me, I don't have any range. So you can more or less ignore it, and then we get here the inner loop. So we just should only get here once. And that then will create our pipeline. And I have two factories, so one factory creates one pipeline, the other factory the other pipeline. So each factory has no range and will just execute this once. Then it collects all the information that it needs to create a pipeline, and it gets that from what is filled by the call to initialize and fill, but it's not doing anything, I think. Fill is probably just an empty function in this case, update 2, I think. And then eventually we create a pipeline layout here. And then everything is put together to create the pipeline itself. And now the problem was that while creating the pipeline, we're using the same pipeline layout for both the factories. What? How is that possible? Well, here's the layout being set. So VH layout is apparently the same in both pipeline factories. Where does it come from? Oh, right, yeah. The the stupidity of it all. Okay, I blame the fix me. I had a problem with my previous test application that, yeah, well, let me read out loud what the fix me says. So what we really need here is a database of compatible layouts. So we figured out a layout, but I don't want to create many layouts over and over and over with all their own handle. If they are all, you know, they are irreplaceable and you can basically maybe even completely the same. That would be stupid. So what I really need is to create only a new layout if it's really a new layout. So what I want to do is create a hash for every layout that determines if the layout is compatible, and if it does not exist yet, then I will create it and store it in my database, and otherwise I just reuse it. What should happen here is that both layouts that I created for this test are different, and therefore I will create two of them and then store both of them in my database, but use them. So this will be created. It's different in one factory than in the other factory. And both pipeline creations use a different layout. But because I did not have a database, and if I did not store it in this stupid static, then it would be destructured, which is not a good thing, because we need a layout even while drawing later on. So I have to keep it alive for the duration of the whole program. So I thought I'm smart. I'm just moving it into a static unique pipeline layout here for the time being. So then, you know, I keep it alive. Problem, because it is a static, both factories share the same value. How can I fix that? Well, the only real fix is, of course, to implement this. And I'm not ready for that. So I'm going to make a horrible hack here that just stores everything in a static, but in a static array. Holy dirty. So I'm going to do static. Well, I should make it an atomic. It has to be an atomic. Let's say an atomic int. Pipeline layout index. I'm sure it's initialized with 0, but let's initialize it anyway like that. And then I'll get the index. And then I have an array of these things. Make an array of 2 because well, let's make it bigger. No, I don't know. And then I'm going to store it in the array at I. and use the same index to get my layout. And I don't think I used that variable below. No, so this should work. Now I can store 10 of them. Super hack, but it should work, I think. Definitely should work. Okay, and it works. So that was the last bug. Now we have 2 validation errors because both layouts are not destroyed yet. They are both stored in the static, so they are never destroyed, which is a problem when I shut down the whole program. Well, I'm glad I figured that out. I think it's time for a commit. Okay, I made a change here that I'm not sure anymore if that change was needed. Because it would be nice to have it here instead of where I put it now. Let me see if I can commit everything except that change and then see if it still works without that change. Excusez-moi for the noise. It's not that easy to pick it apart again, I'm afraid. Okay, let's add it. Do I want this? Yes. Do I want this? No. Well, samey. I wanted samey, but it's definitely not part of the fix. So let's do no unless it is the actual fix, which is just, well, I need this, yeah. So we're gonna say no here. And this one is very hard, very hard. I did not commit enough, I'm afraid. I'll have to say yes here, I think. This is kind of a no, I think. Although the problem is I did put a top in front of this one. And I would like to keep that. So maybe I should keep it and then just remove the array indices. Maybe also not past this. But it's too late now. I already added it. I'm going to do an edit. Let's remove this. And then edit this one as well, I guess. I'm not really interested in the comments, so I can say no. Let's do yes, because it has to be removed anyway. I guess that's a yes as well. Yeah, okay, edit. So that would be correct. And then here are you going to do no DI. And no array index. In fact, what I wanted was move these things back to the, well, not don't put them in the window. Yeah, I'm starting to feel that this is definitely not needed. So this should work with the changes that I'm making now. Yes, it can be deleted. And then I have to edit this again, because we do not have indices. Okay, this is problematic, I have to admit, because where are they stored then? Not here. I hate this. This is not going good. How did I do this before? You can't see that from the diff. It's annoying. These things used to be in the window, and now I moved them somewhere else. And then I moved them back, so this line is accessing them also from the window object. But now I do not want to do that anymore, so where are they? I cannot access them here. I guess we'll see. Well, I don't want, this is something future, it is commented out, but split, that same thing. This is the fix, the real fix, so I have to say yes. Well, fix, you know. Okay, and I'm gonna run over it again, or what did I do? I did something wrong. Maybe I added, I don't know, I'll just have to go over it again, I guess. So this one is now removed from the window. No, that's not the layout, sorry. This is the descriptor set. And that should still be in the window, but why is it not a yes then? Yeah, just the descriptor. Of course. Edit. So I do not want to have these three here. But I do want to have these there. So this is a yes then. And this adds the array indexes. So that's a no. This adds an array index. This adds a comment. This uses a window in front of it. And that adds an array index. So what I really want here is to replace this with something without window. I guess I can just edit it. And this one, same thing. It adds window, but it's not correct. It is exactly the same thing. I'm just going to edit it and then change this into what I want it to be. I do not need this one, and I do not want the window pointer in front of it, and I do not want to have the array index. And then I have to do this again. Yeah, last time I forgot to remove the window pointer. One looks correct actually. I should have splitted it, I don't know. Also correct. Okay, yeah. But there is a problem left. Right. So now I want to commit what I just added to the index, I think. No, I don't. These things have to be removed. And this indi, I didn't want that. This card is hung from the work tree. How do I do that? I mean, edit it. Could say yes and then edit again. It's super unclear on what the edit is going to do. Maybe it explains it if I do this. No. If the patch applies cleanly, the edited hunk will immediately be marked for discarding. I guess I'll just write it and then it discards everything. And then I do quit, I guess. And then we do add. What? Okay, no. Uh-oh, that didn't work. Nobody gets it. Uniform buffers window.h. Yeah. Why am I not encountering it now? What? If I do restore, I should see the things that I see with div cached. Don't I? And it's not doing that. At least, I don't think so. Div cached. Yeah, and the first hunk is with the fix me. This doesn't belong here. So now I do a restore. It's the same file, and it's not there anymore. It's like it is a different file. Oh, I think I understand. Restore looks at the head, not at the index. Get restore help. What I want to do is a reset. Maybe I should just do reset instead of restore. I guess reset has a -p as well. Yes. So now I do yes, and then I do quit, and then I do add, and then I do edit, and then we add everything except the array indexes, and quit again. So now I do div cached. Good. And I have to edit this one as well. I really wish I could just edit it, you know. If I do a reset. It should show a reverse patch, and then I could remove the argument, the int di. Yeah, I'm not going to reset this because I think I added it like crazy. It's highly annoying. I just want to reset a single line, not the rest. Don't think that's possible. Maybe a split. Yes, a split works. Okay, so now I can do yes, I think. And then quit again, and now we do add again. And then we can do edit again, and I remove the argument. Good. And now I have to do something that I cannot remember because I have a bad memory. But I answered it once on Stack Overflow. Now let's see if I can find my own answer. So it's an answer for me, and I don't know, what was it about? I don't know. How can I see? Define, get define static atomic. I guess I could just look for tag git. Cannot imagine that it would not be a git tag. So I don't have to read the titles. This has a tag git. For example, yeah, moving existing uncommitted work to a new branch. Maybe that's the one. Yeah. That's my answer. It is. What does it say? If you already spent an hour with git add, well, we just did it. And then decided you want to test what you added to the index before doing an actual commit. In that case, do not use a plain git stash. Instead, do git stash -k. That keeps the index. Remove the rest that is still in the working directory. Right. That's what I was looking for. And let's give it a name as well. Mostly this is just adding an array for the layouts, I think. So we're throwing away this div. Yeah, it's just adding an array for that layout. And some other stuff, but mostly that. Also for the layout? No, just for the layouts. Yeah. Git stash -k. Hello, SJ. I guess I was missing a message. What am I doing? I don't know. I'll probably just miss a message. Right. And that keeps the index, it removes blah 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 you want. Now you can try to compile, test and commit. And so I'm gonna run make, that will fail, I know. So we're not going to commit it. As you discover that it does not compile, however, then making changes and adding those also to the index and committing that might confuse git stash pop. It isn't that good when it comes to merging. In that case, you probably should just commit anyway. Thus, make git commit -m gr, then create a new branch. Well, let's just do that, I guess. So I'm gonna make it does not compile. Pretty sure about that. Don't tell me it compiles. Okay. See if this is expected. Use of undefined identifier. Yep. So then I'm going to do git commit -m work in progress on removing array of descriptor set layouts. That was my gr. Create a new branch. Do your work here. Okay, so I'm there. Now I have to fix it. So making it is the same thing, same error, obviously. But I'm on this branch, descriptor whip. Undefined use of undeclared identifier and top descriptor set layout. The reason is that this should be in the window class. Well, it is because it's a files window. And my set layout, all the set layouts are no longer in the window class. This is not the window class. I just never added them to this class. This is the initialize, yeah, this is the initialize X of the uniform buffer test pipeline something, and I just never added it here back. So I have a VK unique descriptor set layout M top descriptor set layout, and then 3 of those which are called top, left and bottom. Error use of non-static data member and top descriptor set of window from nested type. For some reason I deleted it. Well, I should only have deleted it from the layouts, not from the sets themselves. And it compiles. What do you mean by voice? Like this? You type in chat and I type in. I speak. Yeah, because this way, you know, maybe everyone sees it. It's kind of a chat poll. And if I say it, and maybe someone was just looking the other way and not hearing it, and then he missed it. Plus, there is an unknown delay between the chat and the stream. And sometimes I feel that delay might be so huge that I cannot really respond by voice. Although I'm not sure how much the delay is now. YouTube refuses to tell me what it is. Well, what do you know? This works. Once everything works, commit it to the new branch. Ha ha ha. Go back to the old branch and then do the git stash pop with the same working directory as where he was when you pushed to the stash. Uh-oh, git checkout, you know what branch you were on, right? No, I think master. Git stash pop. I don't want to really commit it, do I? Let me see what's happening here. Commit it to, otherwise you can't merge the temp branch. Then merge the temporary branch that you created. Commit minus M, still working on this. Git merge temp branch, fix collisions and commit. Rebase. Under the last commit. I'm brilliant. You see, this guy knows his shit that gives this answer. Hey, it's me. Okay. I just don't have memory. That's my problem. So it's good that they give enters on Stack Overflow. Then I can reuse my knowledge. The last one was a commit, and I need to do checkout of what branch you're on. That must be master. Oh, I just did that. Git stash pop then. Okay, whatever. What? It fails. The answer is not good. It's not good. The answer is not good. Pretty sure I missed something. And I'm also pretty sure it should have applied cleanly to master. So this is highly confusing. I did the git stash. How was a git stash minus k while on master? Why would it not apply? Time. Upstream is always right. I mean, stash changes or not. That was just bullshit. I don't see anything interesting here. Let's delete this. Keep that. How many others do I have? Okay, give up. Oh, lots of them. Lots and lots. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my god. And at the top. Well, same thing. This is absolute nonsense. At least turned out that I don't need it. Same thing here. Same thing here. Basically, I could have just dropped the stash. It was. I don't see anything, or that is already merged, of course. It might be merged, yeah. So let me just fix this then anyway. Keep everything that I changed, I guess. That's a big one. Let's go to the next one first. And that's the last one, and the changes are same thing. Throw away all the stash changes. So now I do a git add. So now I have a git diff that is empty and a git diff cached with only that, which can be thrown away as well. Did I just commit something, or I'm completely crazy? I did a git add and nothing. Well, probably because I just threw away everything. I threw away all the changes that collided. And this is the only one that survived, and I don't want that as well. So yes, I should have done a git says drop. I don't think there's anything to commit, right? Changes to be committed. No, I don't want that. What? Changes to committed? The cache was empty. Oh, that is cached. The div is empty. Okay then. So git reset, I guess. I'm paranoid. Cached. Everything is empty. Git status. Okay. So git status drop. Git commit, still working on this. Git merge temp branch. So now I can merge my branch. And the branch was called. Now I'm a master. I can do git merge. Is there a way to merge a branch and delete a branch at the same time? I don't know. So I don't need a rebase because I don't have a work in progress thing left. I already reset it. Kind of done, but the answer is wrong because this did not apply. Damn it. What was wrong? You know what? I'm going to ask on IRC. Okay, I asked on RSC to help me with this intro because I don't understand it. Gonna leave it as it is, but yeah, I don't like that. If I enter something on Stack Overflow, it has to be correct. Anyway, everything compiles and works, right? Yep, okay, so then what is next? I already have 13, 14 commits that I did not push. Maybe it's time to push. But the whole thing is still super incomplete and not, you know, really working. Even have validation errors. I don't feel like pushing. What the hell? I have more validation errors. That's not what I call working. It is invalid to call free descriptor sets. It's the same thing. Well, not quite. Apparently I am freeing the descriptor sets one by one, instead of just freeing the pool. That was kind of a hackish test if I needed it, and I have to look at it now to see if this is needed, you know, or if it isn't. And since I think I'm just definitely terminating the program here, I would say just deleting the whole pool makes a lot more sense than freeing every descriptor set one by one. Someone else asked me that question too today, and that was 48 years. No, not 48. I'm not that old. Wait, 46. Not sure if you can count that. I don't know. I started coding when I was 12, and I think I coded every day since that time. But that was long ago, and I was coding on a home computer at 2 megahertz clock and 48 kilobytes RAM. So I started coding really serious. I mean, I already had a lot of experience, and say the neurons in my head were already formed when I was a kid and a teenager, especially as a teenager. I think it is important. But super serious coding, I only started when I was 30. So that's 28 years. 28, no, that's C++. So 28, I'll type it in, 28 years of serious C++. And before that I think I started at 26 with serious C. So that's before that 4 years C. And before that, yeah, I don't know, basic and stuff like that. I did a 1 week Fortran course. I cannot remember anything of that. And at the university, I had to code in Pascal. And can also not remember anything of that. I did assembly when I was a teenager. Because, well, we didn't have memory, and everything was so slow that if you didn't write it in assembly, it was unacceptably slow, often. So I did a lot of assembly then, and GFA Basic it was called. And then C and C++, of course. Okay, I want to see where this happens. I'm afraid I'll have to run it in the debugger. That's slow. You have to take wait 5 seconds before the backtrace comes. Well, how long was that? Kill, raise, score dump, fatal finish, debug calls, blah 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 blah. Might as well skip directly to. Here's a free. The free is being called by the destruction of a unique handle of a descriptor set. Yeah, it's hardly that I can do anything about that. If I have a unique handle, then how am I going to destruct it? I can disown it. That would be possible. I think there is a method for that. So the question is, this is a call to reset. Oh, because of an assignment. Why would I assign something to it? Which happens in initialize X. What? Again? At program termination? That doesn't make any sense. Code, that would be a bug then. Initialize being called again. Why? Because we must be executing pipeline factory something. Yeah, this one's done. Means it's finished. Generate pipeline factory, create graphics pipeline. It seems that this one is still running then. That was thread pool 0 is still running. Or running again probably. Which is definitely a bug. This problem occurs in thread pool 3, so now I'm not convinced. Okay, this task is that one, so let's highlight that. See where we can find that one back. Nothing. Okay, that's really weird. Where was I? Here it is. So the AI stateful task that you see here with this pointer is a task. Tasks are very verbose, well, if I want to. And if it is calling multiplex, then of multiplex implementation even, then it is running that task. So there is a pipeline factory task at program termination. That is a bug, clearly. I want to look at what that task is doing by scrolling up and is highlighting its pointer. And I'm not seeing anything, so I don't know. I'm going to run this again and then write it to a log file. And then we can search in the log file. It's better than scrolling up and making everyone seasick. So it just works. Terminate. And well, find the first validation error. And now, of course, I don't know what task is running, or do I? Well, I think it's pretty busy here indeed in creating layouts. So it's busy in the pipeline factory. Methinks. So if I just go up thread pool 2. I have virtually no experience with PHP. I think I did I did write a PHP file or 3 a decade or 2 decades ago, because yeah, more than 2 decades ago, because I had a website, and then people could come to the website and they would have to register and then read the story that I wrote, and at the end of each chapter they had to give a grade, so between 1 and 10, what I thought about the chapter. So it wasn't too simple. I even had a database that I was using, etc. But I cannot remember anything about it. Absolutely nothing. It's long ago, and I just don't have a memory. Created object uniform buffers test pipeline characteristic base m shader input data dot m shader module 1. It seems to be really running. I want to know what the handle of the bloody task is that is running. Compiling, pre-process, created object, compiling, compile, pre-process, entering initialize X. Here we are. This is the task that is running. Initialized. So now I highlight the task, but that's much better than highlighting the thread, because the thread can be a different thread every time that runs a task. So the question is, why is this task running? Was it already running before I terminated the program? So I have to remember this point. We are now at line 1050. Someone gave me an answer, sorry. If the stashed changes collide with changes you made in the meantime, you will get a normal conflict resolution process. Where is the conflict? Did make modify any tracked files that were also stashed? The accepted answer is correct. The question is about uncommitted changes. So you can create a new branch right there without stashing any of those extra steps you mentioned, and the new commits will be on the new branch. Damn it. Sorry guys, if these people want to help me, then I have to give them my attention, obviously. So I have to get this clear, and then I can continue with my project. Pretty sure that stash minus k just removes all the changes in the working directory, leaving the index untouched. So it is relative to the changes that you have in the index. Let me type that thought. So I think that git stash minus k stashes the diff in the working directory, aka relative to the index. After committing gr, the branch is unchanged. Maybe I just did it wrong, because the way I read it here, it should work, and the answer is correct. So I don't know what I did wrong to get collisions. Okay, whatever. I don't know. Maybe they'll say something useful, but otherwise, I'm not going to change this answer because it just has to be correct. Yeah, so the question is, yeah, this line. This is line 1050, and the question is, where did I terminate my program? Terminate program. What does it print when I terminate a program? I think delete. There's already something being destructed. Pipeline cache. Not super sure though. All those mouse movements seem like me going to the close button. Synchronize when it's finished. Yeah. I think before this we are not terminating anything. So I think this line, and that's line 1952. But that's nearly impossible. So the factory was still running, and then at program termination it continues running. Then what the hell, man? What the hell is going on? Initialize, multiplex 1 and 2. Here's it being run. Okay, so we have this. The task is created here directly after calling the constructor of the pipeline factory. I really should have only 2 pipeline factories. I'm going to look from the top of the log file for constructors. This is 1 at 907, 2 at 926, and back to 907. Thank God. So we have only 2 factories. This one and that's not working. This one and this one. Reset, that's what it does when it starts. Multiplex, it's starting to run. Adding to thread pool. Signal 2 fully initialized. I might be a little bit early. A bit too early. Maybe the signal is being missed. It might be calling the signal fully initialized before it is even waiting for that. Task is not waiting though. Signal queued for possible subsequent wait. Yeah, but it might still be too early, I think. Okay, well, interesting, definitely. Let's go to the next one. Then create other pipeline factory. Running it, also reset, also calling multiplex, running it, heading to thread pool, also fully initialized. From reset to initialize, multiplex, reset, initialize, start. Also start. Now both are started. From BS initialize to multiplex. Now it's actually running BS multiplex factory, pipeline factory start, and the other one as well. They run at the same time, two different threads. Create something. Cache, pipeline cache is being created. Run. Set state, pipeline factory initialize. Wait for the pipeline cache setup. Initialize, also wait for the pipeline cache setup. Signal, pipeline cache setup. Multiplex. Pipeline factory initialize. Didn't I see that before? Sorry, what was the last state of this task? It's waiting. Set state, initialize. It's first waiting for the cache, and then it's going to run this state, which it is doing here. Set state initialized, and that's probably going to wait for something there. Yeah, wait for fully initialized. Running state, pipeline factory initialized. So apparently the signal came through because it is seeing it. It's just continuing immediately. At least this one. The highlighted one. Signal pipeline cache setup. Pipeline factory initialize. Initialized. Set state initialized. Wait for fully initialized, and also continuing. Both are now running pipeline factory initialized. Which is correct. Set state pipeline factory generate. Create graphics pipeline. yield, generate again, pipeline factory done, finish, finish. This one is completely terminating, call back, killed, we are dead. Set state pipeline factory generates, creating graphics pipeline, yield, again generates, also done, also finish, finish, also call back, removing a thread pool, also dead, destructed, destructed. Well, now I'm completely lost, really. So below this I am getting a validation error that is talking about what the hell would that happen from the what it is thread pool 2. It makes no sense whatsoever. I would say has to do with the destruction of the factory. But in the debugger I saw that it was in the middle of executing it still, which you don't see here. Maybe the debugger is confused. I think all these destructors are destructing something. I'm gonna go back to the debugger. Let's see if I understand it now. Well, I get a validation error before the program is terminated. That's a race condition, which I still have to fix. I don't want to have to look at that right now. That's too much. Let's do one thing at a time. So yes, race condition, know you exist. Ignore, run. And again. Why? and again. Okay, I cannot ignore this any longer. What is going on? This is the, oh, but, right. So when I run it in the debugger, I get a different error than I run it outside the debugger. In the debugger, this race condition happens like all the time. And outside the debugger, something else is happening. I'm going to run it a few times to see if I can get a run without the race condition firing or going wrong. Well, yeah, you could run, if you run it 20 times and none of the times it happens, I didn't do 20, but 20 is a magic number. But I'm not going to run it 20 times. I'm too lazy for that, so it's good enough. Okay then, let's fix this one. The one that happens in the debugger. Yeah, true. Completely true. The problem here is that I'm storing it in the window, but I should be storing it also in a kind of a database, I guess. And I'm just overriding it. But if you ask me, the layout of each of these is the same every time. So I should not create the top descriptor set twice. So if I go to this source file here, then I should give it a long, hard think about what the layout is that's being used here. Well, this is descriptor set 0, which corresponds to the first layout. And this layout here is created using top layout bindings, which is just a fixed thing that is the same. So this is part of the pipeline factory. I have 2 of those, and they use the same information, and they create a completely equal layout. Different objects, but the same thing. And then they also create the descriptor set using the same layout, but write it to the same variable. So the first one writes to it OK, and the second one overwrites it, deleting the first. And that's not allowed because I'm using a pool that does not allow deletion of a single descriptor set. Now, how to fix this? What would be the correct fix? What would be the correct fix? Why am I not eating dinner? I think I should quit, because I had this insight and I also need to eat. And then I can think about it, already knowing what the problem is. So the way I want to head is that this information is generated. This is going to be generated from, among other things, compiling the shaders. So after running this, I have information that allows me to create or generate all these vectors and then create the layouts. Excusez-moi. And then another factory discovers that it needs the same layout. It should just get that from a database, I think. Lots of work ahead. Lots of work ahead. Maybe I should leave it like this and just start to implement the hashing. And then when I have the hashes, I can implement the database, and then I can finally fix this. So the fix me is more like more a cache than a database, I think. I might, want to delete them from the cache at some point. One of the reasons that I could want to delete a layout is, say I find out that I have a certain layout, and then I have, so I just created, I need this, so I created. And then after that, I find out that I need a different layout, but I could combine them. That is possible. The layouts are almost the same, but not quite. Now, what is possible, that code says, okay, I already have this one, but now I need that one. You know what? I'm going to not create the new one that I need. I'm going to create one that overlaps with the one that I already have. And then create that instead. And then it could delete the previous one that it already had from the cache. So that if then later I need that layout again, it's going to say, okay, I need this layout. but there is already something in the cache that is compatible with me. So let's use that. And then after the program runs a while, maybe it can stabilize in a lot less layouts than it would otherwise do. So something like that, I think, would be nice. Which means that I should not calculate a hash just based on the exact input, but generate a hash between quotes that allows me to figure out how much overlap there is, and if I can extend it layout so it fulfills the requirements of multiple layouts as I really need them. Something like that. But before I get there, I'm gonna need something simpler first, I think. So what did I write? We should calculate a hash. It's a hash between quotes then. Let's call it a hash between quotes or requirements. From the layout bindings, which it turns out to be the only real input. And then either create a new layout or reuse a compatible in terms of requirements already created one, retrieving it from a cache of descriptor layouts, right? And this fix me then applies to this creation, and then therefore also to is that true? I'm not sure. Layout is, well, that's clear, but if you make a descriptor set from a certain layout, you make two descriptor sets from the same layout. Is that nonsense in all cases, or is it possible that you use the two descriptor sets in a different way, even though they are having the same layout? I don't know. I'll have to ask the gurus. Let me see, where shall I ask this? This is about descriptor sets. Yeah. I don't know, I'll ask in general. Could ask in beginners, but I'm working on this for 2 years now, so maybe people get annoyed when I ask something in beginners. On the other hand, it feels like a really noob question. Oh well, someone else has a question. Can anyone give me some GitHub repositories where I can look at some good abstractions? Preferable Rust. I'm not going to say anything. Well, I sure have a lot of abstractions, but it's not going to be any use to this guy anyway. So let's ask my question. What is the question? The question is, does it ever make sense to create two, well, it's really different, not just make sense, but no, question is it ever needed? Is it ever needed to create two different descriptor sets, called handles between parentheses from the same layout, from the same descriptor set layout? Or can you always reuse the same descriptor? The same descriptor set handle for both usages, whatever. Because it's the same. It's using, I don't know. Well, these guys are intelligent, so I guess I can ask it like this. Is it ever needed to create two different descriptor sets, handles, from the same descriptor set layout? Or can you always reuse the same descriptor set handle? Okay, well, how to phrase it? Doesn't read well. Let me erase it. On the same descriptor set layout, yeah, let's just say I feel like that descriptor set doesn't carry any state. So that well, there is never a need to have two different descriptor set instances if they are created from the same layout. Or am I wrong? Still a bit asked weirdly, but someone asked a question long ago that I missed. I don't see any participants in the chat. It's so weird. Well, no. Can see he left anyway. Buffer, are you still there? Well, the question is no, so I don't know. Cannot make it a longer answer. Yes, someone is giving me an answer. Someone who's very knowledgeable, who has helped me a lot before. Let's hope the answer is that I really don't. I can just use the same. Just have a single descriptor set. Of course there is. Ugh. Yes, a descriptor set is a thing while I lay out. And he deleted it again. What? If answer is if you have a descriptor set layout for a basic material, between quotes, you'll probably have a uniform buffer and a few textures in there. Yes, so odds are you have more than one object in your program with different materials. So each material gets its own set from the same layout. I'm still confused, I type. I am looking at my codes and I see I'm probably being extremely stupid. The only reason you would need two of these is when you store state in it later on after creating it. Maybe I should type that as well. So I type the only reason that you would need two descriptor sets with the same layout is when afterwards you store different states in them. And I thought Vulkan was stateless. So then where am I using these things? No, not that. Where am I using this? Those people that give answers on IRC and Discord, they have so much patience. It's amazing. It's way more than the amount of patience that I have. Update descriptor set. Ah. Is this state stored with let me be nice and use the real API. So, is this state stored with VK update descriptor sets? Hello, Dario. Okay, so I need multiple descriptors, descriptor set with the same layout, because they are updated differently. Correct. Must be it. I'm just so uncertain. I need them to say yes. He already said yes, actually. So this state is stored with VK update descriptor sets, and then he says yes. That updates the pointers inside of the given descriptor set to point to the buffer's image. Okay, so. Right, so I need different descriptor sets for pipeline 1 and 2 because this would be different. But it is not different because top buffer infos, left buffer infos and bottom buffer infos are exactly the same thing for both pipelines. I'll just show it, I guess. No, damn it. No, no, no. Okay, it doesn't want to. Let me force it. Force. Thank you very much. Yeah, finally. Okay, sum of, what is it? The layout object is immutable thing. No, what? Yeah, there is no reason. Yeah, okay. The layout object is an immutable thing. It represents a template. The layout object no state. The descriptor sets are created with those templates and they store the state. Okay, some of the confusion came from that this particular test application currently creates two descriptor sets. I'm gonna abbreviate that, and that are also updated with the same information. So in this case, I don't need two of them, I think. Screaming, why is Vulkan so confused, etc. I'm not going to type that. I think I'm going to eat. Some of the confusion. Okay, so then the fix me that I was writing. Then this becomes can. Oops. If descriptor set layouts are reused, we can also reuse the corresponding descriptor set because they are updated with the same state, whatever, in this application. Both pipelines can use the same descriptor sets. So I have one window. The one window has two pipelines, and the pipelines must just share the descriptor set. That means that I have to create them only once and then update them only once. And the update happens, I hope, in create uniform buffers. That is, this creates also one uniform buffer, well, three, but not one for each pipeline. And then update set. So this whole function should be just called once. Totally. And since this is being done in the window, I'm going to move this into that function here. So we do it at the top. And then I can delete the window pointer. And then I need the descriptor sets. So we're going to pass the descriptor sets, which have got what the type was. But it's called descriptor sets. So the type is auto, yeah, of course. Sometimes the use of auto is not the most handy thing. But here we have them. It's a vector of unique descriptor set. Vector of unique. Oh, I'm moving them. Yeah. I have to move the whole vector. Then move descriptor sets. I have to copy it again, the return time. Now we jump to create uniform buffers. What? It doesn't know where it is anymore. Create a uniform buffers. That's an R value of that vector. And I'm not going to print it. I'm not going to print it. Well, I should print it, but just, why would I print it? It's just a test application. Okay, the dot. And then I move all of them out of it. So then if after this, the vector is empty and you can just destruct it at the end of the function. Now this whole function should only be called once. So what I can do is say, if you call it twice, I'm going to do nothing. Or I can just call it once from here. What do you think should I do? Now this also needs to be done once, I think. Why am I not doing that inside this function as well? Then the name create uniform buffers is a kind of not correct anymore, but allocate descriptor sets. Yeah, I could just move the descriptor sets. Why not just move the descriptor set handles to it? Okay, let's do that. So going to move this also to that function, which it can still not find. And that means that now I have to move, let's just do handles, Vulkan handle. I want to have the top and the left, etc. as prefix, so let's put it here. Vulkan handle descriptor set layout. And the left Vulkan handle descriptor set layout, and the bottom Vulkan handle descriptor set layout. And then we pass that, ding 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 ding, and it's probably called Descriptor set. No, that's a handle because of the color. Keep them in that order. And the last one, the bottom. Okay, definitely make a mistake because these are sets and indeed layouts. Layout, also pink, so also a handle. Layout, I meant layout. Layout. I want it to fit on my monitor if I look at it like that, and it doesn't. So let's put one of them on the new line, something like this. Now each of these things are used to create, allocate the descriptor sets, which we then move to the window, etc. And we only want to do this once. Well, let's do it the official way. Alright, of course I don't know. If something, then do it. And if something is in something, probably standard ones. I don't know. I have to look it up. Where is there it is? Not going to change this. Example is standard ones. Why am I not making dinner and eating cold ones? Cold ones, yeah, I don't know, maybe. That is on. Okay, something like a standard ones flag. And then do something like this. And just make it static. Standard ones flag. And then we call something, I think that looks like a simple callable thing. Well, here I pass arguments. Can I not pass arguments? Yes, you can. Arguments. Once flag callable arguments. The only problem here is that f is cannot be a member function. It would be nice to have an example with a member function, I must say. No example of member functions. I'm going to gamble that the most obvious way is also working, which means that I can just do. I can use a lambda, but I want to try out if this actually works like this. So this is a member function, not a normal function. And then I pass that as argument, right? So this is probably not going to compile. I have the feeling that it isn't. But I want to see the compile error. That's at least is interesting. On the other hand, it could be just intelligence. No, it's not. Use of undeclared identifier owning window. Oops, what? Oh, that's something else. This is in window, so we pretty much know what window it is. See, it was a correct decision to put it here. Shorter and shorter. No, I don't know. Compile. Yeah, this did not work. Reference to non-static member function must be called. Our reference to a non-static? Well, it's totally non-static, so I don't know what it wants, but it wants a reference. Tell me about it. Nope. Cannot create a non-constant pointer to a member function. What do you mean non-constant? Use of undeclared identifier descriptor. What? Really? Oh, wait. We're not passing that anymore. We are passing all the handles. So just the same as this. All it. Okay, but okay, apparently this does not work, so I'm gonna try something else. Window. This is window, but still, you know. Let's first try it like this. I mean, window. And if that doesn't work, then I'm just gonna give up and use lambda. Okay, I'm not giving up. Last try. It works. How about that? Yippee. And we have validation error here, and the other validations are not gone, they are still there. But that was the other validation error problem. I think that the problem that we got in GDB was different than this one. This is really program termination. See, like it just works, and then we get extra problems in at program termination. But if I run it in GDB, we did get a different error, and it didn't draw anything at all. Well, that's fixed now. So now we get still the problem at program termination. It is invalid to call blah 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 blah, and now I wanted to know where that happened. So now we can finally in GDB look at where that happens. Then the destructor of the window. Well, would be nice if you told me what exactly you are destructing here. It's not telling me, right? Nope. The window is destructed, and as a result it destructs a unique handle. Descriptor set. Okay, I have 3 of those in the window. So now my big trick was, I guess I'll just not eat, right? It's 9 o'clock. Because I just want to do this. So before actually destructing this object, I can, in the destructor, disown the unique handles and destruct the pool. And now we fix this, I think. Pretty sure of that. So that's kind of dirty, but I'm just playing now here, I guess. Oops, that's the wrong... From buffers, window.h. Do I have a destructor? That's not what we wanted. A window. We do not have a destructor. Class window. Excusez-moi. Do I even have a constructor of the thing? Also not. Let's add a destructor then. Probably, yeah, this is our constructor, so I can add a destructor here. I don't have a CXX file, right? Oh, I do. Oh well, I'm gonna add it here. I don't know why. I just do. Window, bleep, plop, window. Structure, and then in that function I'm going to destruct or disown, I said, the unique stuff. Unique, there they are. So we're going to disown these things so that I do not delete anything anymore. And that is a unique handle. What the hell? Unique handle. I hope it does have a disown. Reset, I guess, or release. Or release would work. Yeah, release is what I want. So that gets the value and then returns it, and it sets pointer to 0, but it does not free anything. Resets does free it, I guess. Does destroy. So we need release. Release. So I'm going to call 3yy. I'm going to call release on all of them. And we don't do anything with the pointer that's returned. I just want to destruct the whole pool. So now is the question, where is the pool? Well, the pool is a member of the device, I think. Yes, a logical device. On the comment. Logical device will destroy the pool. Which I only typed so I can jump to the logical device. Find the pool. No pool. I'm pretty sure it was logical device. Do I have another logical device? Oh yeah, sure. Vulkan logical device. Oh. What? Jump to logical device. Next. I'm sitting in the dark here. Sometimes I just have to look at my keyboard. That was a task. Task. This is logical device. Yeah, this is the real logical device. Now I should be able to look for a pool. Unique descriptor pool. That must be the one. So that's when the logical device is destructed, it's going to destruct this member, which has the type AI thread save wrapper, but I'm pretty sure it's going to call the destructor of this thing as well. I mean, it would be crazy if it didn't. Let me have a look at that. Wrapper has a destructor. Ooh. What? Can only be locked to when there still exists an access object that references this object and will access it upon destruction. If the assertion fails, make sure that such access object is destructed before the... Okay, but the big problem here is that it doesn't seem to do anything. What? Why? Or do you think it is bits that does it? Bits. Jump to bits. Does bits have a destructor? Yes, bits has a destructor. Yeah, there we are. It calls the destructor of the whatever it's pointing to. So, get the complex wrapper stuff. The destructor is being called. And therefore, this comment is correct. I'm going to compile this. And then we can run it in GDB again. And then should get rid of those. Oh, it just got worse. But this pointer is bullshit here. Up, this is wrong. We don't have... this is a completely unrelated error if you ask me. That one is 0. That wouldn't work. Why is the owning window of owning factory 0? Impossible. Guys, I really should eat. I'm really having fun with this coding and I wish I could continue. But I went to bed too late yesterday already and I got up too late. It's just shifting my day. It's really bad. So I need to go through some ritual before I can go to bed. And I should go to bed in, say, 2 hours. And I still have to eat. So it's just stupid to continue. I'll continue tomorrow, right here. Good night and stuff.